Podcast number 15 in a sports. Dave and Joe.
How do you
welcome back from Portugal, Joe? He was on vacation,
yeah,
so that's why we
missed a week.
Yeah, that's why we missed a week, but we're back, and we got a lot of positive feedback again. What else we got to say?
Well, we
have a lot to say, don't we?
You want to start out with what you heard on the radio?
Yeah, I heard something on the score yesterday, and today is August 30th, 2017. Yesterday, August 29th, on the midday show, or the afternoon show on the score, one of the co-hosts said, geez, I didn't know travel ball was so expensive. And then he said he found out from reading on a Time magazine article, Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, the magnitude of travel ball. And welcome to the real world, co-host. I mean, you live in a dream world where you cover all the pro teams and the top college teams, but we have a co-host there, Dan Bernstein, who has a kid in travel ball, and yet he didn't know that this other host, he didn't know that it was so expensive. And then he was explaining that watching the program, middle-class parents think their kid's going to be in a college or pros, and they spend so much money summer with travel ball, whether it's baseball or basketball or whatever it is. There's no travel football. But he was talking,
better not be.
Yeah, he was talking specifically about baseball, and said, I didn't know. So what a business it was. A multi-million-dollar business. Welcome to reality. And middle-class parents can't afford it. Lower-class parents can't afford it. So that's why you have these offshoots like the White Sox Ace program and some of these other programs. But most of these travel programs, and you've been aware of it, are rip-offs. And they rip you off for a lot of money. And that's why we all think most of the travel is just the business. How many coaches really know anything other than being businessmen in the summer? And that's why one of the coaches was complaining. The Whitney Young coach, a friend of mine, was complaining. We can't get young coaches because all they want to do is coach summer ball because they make way more money than what we can give them in the public league or the Catholic league. And this is in Chicago, so he's right. And it's so not only are we not getting the proper coaching at the lower levels because these guys are running off the travel, when they do coach travel, they're not experienced enough because they haven't gone through
what they need to go through where they're not getting any money.
Exactly.
Which is tough. I mean,
they didn't pay their dues,
yep.
And look what you're doing now. You're paying your dues now. You've played in college ball, but you're working at a mid-level public league program and with poor kids, and you don't make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're learning so much, and you ask me and other coaches about am I doing this right? What should I do? Here's what we learned in college. And that's all part of the procedure. These travel coaches that just do it for the money, they sell out for money, they don't know that, and they don't do that. And they're poor for it, and the kids are poor for it because they don't learn anything.
Yeah.
They just go from tournament to tournament, city to city, and okay, there's their experience. Well, what a great experience. No, it sucks.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I really don't blame them for wanting more of an income, right? Everybody wants more of an income. But I think the real key is that nothing really happens overnight. And if coaching really matters to you, or you really wanted to be a coach, you have to go to where you're actually going to learn, or where it's actually important, where you can learn how to teach better mechanics or how to teach better philosophies, not just go here because you're getting paid however many, 4 or 5, 6 grand, whatever you get paid for that summer. If you really wanted to be an all-star coach, you start and understand that it takes time, just like any business, any profession, anything takes time until you're really making money doing what you like to do. That's where I think the flaw is. Just a lot of people chase. Right. They're very short-sighted.
Well, look at your job. I mean, you started an entry-level position. I mean, it's the same thing with coaching. I mean, it took me. I was on the lower level staff at a Catholic school for 4 years before I got a head job, and I was lucky. I mean,
And for some people, it takes way longer than that.
right. I was lucky because they liked what I did, but I made so many mistakes moving up that ladder. But you learn on the lower levels because it doesn't matter as much. I mean, you're not playing for a state title or anything. You're developing players. You're developing how to work. They can work as a team.
You're learning how to coach better, which that's another reason. Like, I mean, the travel ball thing interrupts coaching in general because they're not going through the steps to become a good coach, which is why we're so adamant about certifying coaches, because right now where it is travel ball and other things, people are just calling themselves a coach without coaching. Where you go through the process, being at a lower level for 4 years, you learn how to become a good coach, even if you didn't know at the beginning. So you understand organizational skills and preparation and mechanical things because you've done your research.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had I wish there was a certification program where when I first started out, because I thought this is the way you hit, this is the way you pitch, and I was so wrong because you can't go philosophy. Everybody was different. I started out when I was low level coach. Charlie Lau, the late Charlie Lau, he was big in the 70s and 80s about taking your hand off the top hand off the bat for better extension and some other things. And I just thought every kid in our program should do it. And boy, was I wrong, and I didn't know anything about pitching. I just said, hey, get me the hardest throwers. I mean, a lot like what travel kids do now. Travel coaches do now. They burn out the hardest throwers and they don't teach them how to pitch. I was a little better than that, but not much better. But I learned. I mean, I couldn't do that. I mean, we don't have guys that throw 80 miles an hour. Now I have to figure out mechanics and how an approach, both as hitters and pitchers. And I eventually got out of the system way of thinking. And
this is how it's done, and that's it.
Every kid's different. You don't teach a small kid or a chubby kid or whatever the same way you should teach a tall kid or a lean kid, whatever, or talent. A talented kid,
clumsy, athletic,
right.
Different, still growing. Who knows?
Right, still growing, still developing. Inexperienced, but you see some hand-eye coordination. This is all part of it, and we're going to try to get a certification program. So when young coaches really want to get better, it'll be a lot of checkpoints, and they're going to take that program. They're going to get a lot of wrong answers because they don't know, and we're going to make it really tough on them. And I hope it catches on because if we're going to go that route where everybody's going to shun the developmental ladder, like you're saying, and they just want to go straight to the
money,
to the $10,000 to $15,000 that you make over the summer, just driving kids to tournaments or telling them where to go. At least they should have some basis to get better. And this is why, like USA Hockey, they have a certification program. This is what we wanted. I don't know if it's going to be called DNA certification or baseball certification by Intangible Sports or DNA Sports, whatever. But we're going to do something to make all coaches accountable, all baseball coaches accountable.
And that's the thing, too, for the people that do watch us. Well, one, like, we appreciate it. And two, if you're a coach or a player, what do you see from your coaches that they don't teach? Or as a coach, what would you like for there to be taught that's important, Because that's a good thing, too. I mean, right now it's just me and you speaking, but generally how many coaches are out there? What needs to be – what's common? What do people need to know, So, I mean, if you watch this, feel free to comment about that, too.
Yeah, I think I needed a mentor.
Yeah.
I needed somebody who was experienced. You needed one. I mean, we all needed. We need somebody who knows more than we did. And, everybody goes into sports saying, hey, I know more than anybody else. And then you don't, and you get shot down. You get, I remember I thought I was smarter than the Brother Rice coach, and he pulled a play on me and said, rather than getting pissed, I said, he out-taught me, and he out-executed me, and I'm going to learn from that. Mm-hmm. It's like having the wrong bunt coverages. I thought I could do some things, and I charged the third baseman hard, and he stole third. I said, oops.
But that was the one. That's the one you always talk about.
Yeah, that's all I always talk about. I said, okay. There was another comment today on the Score, which is the sports talk radio show in Chicago. Again, I think it was the midday show or between, and C.J. Edwards, the Cubs relief pitcher, who was a really good pitcher, really good Senate man, talked about travel ball or lessons, and it's something we both talked about. And lessons can be advantageous, but usually lessons are, okay, we're going to teach you one way, then you have to go to your high school program, and they might not like what you're teaching them. It should be, if you're going to do lessons the right way, it should be in conjunction with the varsity coach.
There should be some sort of common collaboration.
Right.
I mean, it's tough if you're going behind the coach's back, because
it's really tough.
Whether we're right or he's right, or there's just different philosophies or ideas. I mean, you're going to go here, learn one thing, get in trouble at school, vice versa. I mean,
yeah. And, I get kind of offended when people go and get lessons behind my back and don't even tell me, because first of all, they're telling the wrong stuff, because I know the players better than I make it. And again, I would hope that coaches do this. I know you do it. I get to know my players better than any other guy who gives lessons or a travel coach. Some players need coddling. Some players need a kick in the ass. Some players need mechanical work, everything, and I know them. Some players need father figures. Some players need a friend. Some players need to be left alone. There's a lot of different things, and these guys just take the money and run, or whatever. But this guy, C.J. Edwards, he said, I didn't take a lesson. I didn't do any travel team. I played with my dad's friends I was like a freshman in high school, and they were like in late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. They taught me a lot, but basically I knew I was pretty good, and all those lessons and travel teams were hogwash. And that was his verbatim comment. And he said, I turned out okay. I'm in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, Ian Happ, he was on there, another Cub phenom. He's 22 years old. And he said, and it was interesting, he made his high school team, and all he wanted to do was have the chance of playing college. And he's a pretty damn good rookie here at age 22. So, you just need to listen to your coaches that really know what they're doing.
And you got to focus on what matters. So, I mean.
And develop, and be willing to be coached, be coachable, and you get a lot of development. Plus, you physically mature. I mean, C.J. Edwards was a string bean. Now he's like getting bigger, and he throws hard. And I'm sure Ian Haps, he's a big guy, and he runs really well. He even surprised Joe Madden by saying he's the fastest guy we have. I wouldn't have expected that, but just by playing and just by maturing, you never know what you have in high school or just before high school. So that's why you have to try to develop guys and not just throw them to a travel team and say, okay, just play. No, that's not what it's about. And that's why a lot of American travel players fail.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with a lot of people today now in high school, especially because I was telling you this earlier, how many high school kids, they literally show up like they're already going to go to the MLB. I mean,
right.
What boy in America doesn't dream about playing a professional sport? That's okay. But you have to recognize, and it's not just their fault, it's the people that are in their lives, like parents, family, friends, coaches, to like bring them back a notch and say, look, there's a whole journey. You don't just show up here as a freshman or sophomore in high school and think you're going to be in the MLB. First of all, the odds of even playing in college are so slim. So like, there's a process to everything. You have to earn your way, just like we talk about with coaches earning their way instead of just taking that stipend to go do travel coaching. So it's just, I mean, the mindset around everything. Of course, yeah, that's a great dream. I mean, I still think about how cool it would be to play in the MLB, but the reality is the reality, and there's certain ways to do things, and there's certain ways to do things wrong.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones to play in college, but my question to you is, would you have wanted to have a chance even just to try out?
Yeah.
For for a big league team and get put in the minor leagues, I know you would have. I mean, that's the type of competitive person you were, and plus you love baseball. I mean, I was a lousy college player because I wasn't fully developed yet. I became better after I left college because, you know, I said, okay, I didn't get any coaching in high school. I'm doing this. I'm purely athletic ability. And whenever they had contests, you know, like, you know, hit the ball, ground balls really had errors and you're out, and I played that game with you, or throwing contests, I would always win. And I was the fastest guy on the team. But I had no coaching at all. Our coach in high school was a football coach. And two non-conference games, 12 conference games, 14-game schedule. It was, and no summer program, no fall program. How are you going to get? We just played. My friends and I just played in the schoolyard all day.
Let me ask you a question. If it's a very up-and-coming program, I mean, not the program itself being new, but the kids themselves do not really understand baseball, how to play it, the game itself, or the fundamentals of it, would you still schedule a lot of games, or would you schedule maybe a medium amount of games and really focus more on like the practice part of the game and the fundamentals and the scrimmage? Like, what would you do if you had a group, for example, like at Juarez? Would you schedule a lot of games at Juarez, or would you just a medium amount and really focus on other things? Because, I mean, a lot of the kids there, Caesar aside, right, they really struggle with understanding how the game works.
They struggle with authority, too.
Yeah, understanding how the game works.
Yeah, but that's a whole different thing.
So, like, I mean, what would you, in that type of scenario where you have...
Okay, we'll just go back to your high school program.
So, like, what would you do?
I was brought in to coach basketball, and I said, and then one of my ex-players said, I want to get into coaching. Will you coach baseball? So this was in 2006, and I just was in Indiana for 2 years at a program that just needed a coach, and it was the only time in their history they went to the Final Four. They call it semi-state in Indiana. So we go there, and the baseball program was a joke. You know, they just maybe played 15 to 20 games. Mm-hmm. They didn't take care of the field. They had no practice facility. They had no outdoor facility. And we started from ground zero. I scheduled a ton of games.
A ton.
I said, the only way you're going to get better, first of all, we practiced 2 to 3 hours a day, and we didn't get it right away. Our first game, I thought we would be okay. We got one hit. We lost to a really crappy team, 11-2, and then next day we got pummeled by another crappy team, and we started off maybe 2-5, 2-6, 2-7, something like that. We ended up 17-9 because all of a sudden, all that practice and all the playing in games, something clicked as a team for all these guys. And that set the groundwork for the next 5 years. That means from 2007 to 2011 when we last made the super sections. So those are great teams. But what I did was started in practice. You know, really organized, really intense, really fundamental. Basically, no flexibility. You do it this way because these are the absolutes of baseball. Now, the individual work, that came after that. But all the baseball plays, like stuff that like pitch, EFPs, bunt coverages, cutoffs, blocking as a catcher, the fundamentals of every position, the breaks of the outfield, baseball plays, hit and run. We did it just endlessly until we got it, and we didn't get it right away.
Yeah.
We couldn't even get guys to cover. We couldn't at second base on a steal. We couldn't even get open and closed mouth telling me who's gonna. They didn't get it, but all of a sudden they got it. But it was just like constant. That was really hard because I did that when I was at Ignatius. We were terrible, but they were already in the Catholic League, so they were already at a standard where they were okay. But
they understood.
Yes, a lot of them did, but this was just ground zero stuff. We had good players, but they were never coached. None of them. There was 0 guys that played travel ball. They all played park. The guys that did played at their park. So they had a league there, and then they have championships, and all-stars would go to each different parks and play each other. Okay, that's That's the way that. But it was fine. We next year after that we were 26-7. Made it to super sectionals. The year after that, 25-8. Really good team, and just really good kids, and they bought in. The only way players are gonna buy in, they have to believe in the coach and believe. You have to sell yourself, and then then it becomes opposite. You have to try out after that. I mean, players have to please you, but you have to sell yourself. Say, hey, this guy really knows what he's doing. He really cares, and he cares about me as a player and as a person. There's so many things involved, and he cares about the team, and he wants us to play together. And we can't show attitude. This kid, we had our first meeting. This kid mouthed off, God rest his soul, Dennis, and I told him to shut up. I'm the one who's talking. And all of a sudden, instant respect. And because it wasn't just joke around, it said, we're going to be city championship contender, state championship contender. They believed it, but it took a while. It was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? Sorry.
No, that was perfect. I feel like...
Juarez, your team.
I feel like all 20 of those things you mentioned, though, I mean, all that has to be a part of a certification.
Yes.
The nuts and bolts, like you said, individual stuff aside, all of that team stuff has to be something that a coach understands how to do. If you, maybe right there, if you were giving ground zero, what do you do, right? What is ground zero too? Because in a certain area, ground zero might be ground 10 to us. Floor 10.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. We had a kid from Mount Carmel they won a state championship like 3 years ago. And he was going to a Division I baseball camp. And he wanted some help on pitching, and I've known him since he was 11 years old, but he's transferred to Mount Carmel, and he was going to his camp, and we started talking some just, stuff that like the back of your hand, because we always talked about it. He didn't know what we were talking about. They never go nuts and bolts. They never go detailed. They never go to the fundamentals. They say, here, throw the ball as hard as you can to a spot that the catcher has. And then what's your off-speed pitch? No approach, no setting up hitters, no mechanical work. His mechanics were way off. And he asked me all the questions, why do you do this? Why do you do this? I said, really? I didn't mean to be ignorant, but I thought every high school coach taught that. And they don't. Maybe because he's a fringe player and they just work with the top-notch players. But, coaches are only, the teams are only as good as your last player on the bench. You have to work with them too. That's missing also. So
how great by him though, asking you those questions and not being afraid.
Yeah,
that's what more players need to do.
Yeah, he said, why am I throwing a ball up? Why am I throwing my curveball in the dirt? Why can't I throw this pitch on the inside corner? Why are you telling me not to go so far back with my non-pivot foot? Why are you telling me not to land on my heel? Why are you telling me not to follow through on my arm side, but out in front of you? All this stuff that we just think of second nature, he had never heard before.
Mm-hmm. But now he knows. But would he know though if he didn't ask?
Right. I mean, I'm glad he asked because I gave him answers. But Caesar was the same way. Your kid, and he's a catcher, and you had obviously given him some primers, but he needed to, just reps, and you're working, so you let me work with him and you trusted me. And the kid is very coachable and has some ability, great hand-eye coordination, not fast, not strong, but has hand-eye coordination and really coachable, really, really coachable. And once he adds some strength, he can get some better shape.
And all those other things that you mentioned that he doesn't have, he could. Those are things that you can manage and control and take care of.
That should be on a certification test too. Can you get stronger? Can you get faster? Can you get quicker? Yes, of course you can. I mean, he's not gonna be like a world-class sprinter, or he's not gonna have like just a unbelievably bullet arm, but he's gonna have an above average arm, and he's gonna hit for power because he's got a nice natural swing. That's the best thing he does, but his lower body mechanics were off. He didn't understand why you dig in your back foot for power, and why you swing against a firm left side or slightly bent front knee. There's two different ways you can do that. He didn't understand it, but he asked questions too. And he said, and he would get in trouble when he would try to pull everything. So I said, Caesar, do you ever see in the box score where the hits are hit to, or are they just hits? He said, they're just hits. I said, yeah. So hit to all fields. Why do you want to hit ground balls to third? Why do you want to pop ups to short when you can hit those balls to center field and right center field? So great, hopefully he can pass that along to some of his teammates because he really wants to be a leader.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
Well, as a catcher, it's if you don't have a good catcher in any sport, at any level, youth, high school, college, pro, you're not going to be any good.
Yep.
The White Sox, they have lousy catchers. Oh, they're lousy in every possible way. They can't throw out a runner, so they're no good.
I think that settles it for today. I don't know how you always know the episode number though. That's beyond me.
It'll be episode 16 when Mikey gets back from vacation, and that'll be next week. But we're glad to have you listen to us, and hopefully you give us feedback, and we enjoy this, and hopefully it'll grow bigger and stronger and help everybody out. So from Dave and Joe, we'll see you next time.